In the summer of 1981, Altoona, Pennsylvania was a town caught between the past and the future. The machine shops were winding down, and the once vibrant railroad hub that defined the region was no longer the beating heart it once had been. It was a time of uncertainty, but also of resilience. In this small, hard-working town, people like my father, a residential and commercial painter, were doing their part to hold things together. Ronald Reagan had just taken office, and the country was feeling the effects of a recession. Unemployment rates were climbing, and the future seemed uncertain. But in Altoona, a town rooted in the traditions of hard work, people like my dad kept the engines running. My dad had spent years perfecting his craft, painting homes and businesses with a steady hand, turning tired structures into bright, fresh spaces. Whether it was a local diner that needed a coat of paint to stay vibrant or a family home requiring a new lease on life, my dad was there, day in and day out, making a living, raising a family, and contributing to the town he loved. Well, on the national stage, Raiders of the Lost Ark had just become the summer's biggest hit, and MTV, launched the year before, was now the cultural force, reshaping the musical landscape. It was a time of change, but for the people of Altoona, life moved at a different pace, quiet, steady, and marked by hard work, community, and family. In a moment, one shift of a ladder sent my dad plummeting over 30 feet to the unforgiving concrete below the Altoona Cathedral. The sound of metal scraping against metal, the thud of his body hitting the ground. It all happened in an instant, but in that instant, my father's life would flash before his eyes. I was 9 years old when this occurred, and I remember my mom telling me and my 7-year-old brother that our dad fell 30 feet and was in the hospital. We did not know how serious his injuries were or if he would even make it back home. I recently asked my dad to tell me exactly what happened that day.
Me and Ron Cooney were working for Bear Painting and Decorating. We were on the second floor of the cathedral, painting that, and we was on a dome-shaped window, and Ron was up a 32-foot ladder on the one side. I was on the 32-foot on the other side. And it was like 90-something degrees out. And we're sitting there reaching in, painting, and he painted half the window, I painted the other half. And we're reaching and painting it, and I felt my ladder do this, and I said to Ron, I said, my ladder's going. And by the time Ron tried to get down the ladder fast enough, I was already down on the ground. And there was a ledge about this high off the ground, so my ladder hit that, and I snapped the ladder in half, and then I rolled down the roof and almost to the other ledge, and that would have killed me, because that was 50 foot off the ground. And I lay there, and Ron Cooney just kept screaming at me, don't you go into shock on me, don't you go into shock on me, just screaming. And meanwhile, my boss is on the ground yelling up, what's going on? He goes, call the ambulance, So he fell, and he goes, did he spill any paint on the roof? That's all he worried about was paint on the roof. And Ron's still screaming, don't you go into shock on me. And I started laughing because he was pissing me off. So then they came there, the fire company their ladder truck wouldn't reach the top of the roof because it was in so far. And so they had to come up with a basket. They strapped me in this basket and they took me down spiral staircase. It took like 10 to 12 guys to get me down, straight up and down. And I kept saying to them, I can walk. And they said, no, you're injured. You don't know you're injured. So then they loaded me in the ambulance and they took me to the Altoona hospital. And I can remember I was laying in the bed and the nurse came out and took scissors, and your mother just sewed these brand new pants for me. So they cut up both sides of my pants to take them off of me. And they took me to the x-ray machine and they x-rayed me. They come back and says, well, we can't find nothing wrong with you, so you can go home. And I said, how am I supposed to go home now? You cut my pants off. So they brought out this big bowl of safety pins and they safety pinned my pants. And I put them on.
Which window was your ladder actually on?
The second from the left.
So what were you guys doing up there?
We were painting the window, the arch of the window.
Oh, so just that frame on the inside of the window there?
Yeah.
You guys were painting that?
Yeah.
So where was Ron painting?
I was on this half and Ron was in the other half.
So you guys were just doing each side of the window?
Yeah.
I mean, those things are probably gigantic. They don't look that big from here.
Yeah, they're big. So I'd reach in my length and Ron would reach in his length, but we had the brush length, which made it.
So when your ladder went down, where did you land?
I hit that You see that ledge that runs along there?
Yeah.
The ladder hit that because I was still on the ladder.
Okay.
So I bounced off the ladder and then rolled down to the edge, down to here.
And then what, Ron climbed down the ladder?
He was heading down the ladder when I told him my ladder was falling.
Oh, okay.
And then he tried to come down, but I was down faster than he could ever make it.
So you walked back from the Altoona Hospital, right? You can see the Altoona Hospital from here. So you walked back from the hospital.
To get my car.
Where was your car parked?
Down here.
Okay. I wonder how many times it's been painted since then, or if that's your original paint. What do you think?
No, that's been painted.
Oh, has it been?
Yeah. And I remember my car was still at the cathedral, and it was about 5 blocks away. And I said, I gotta go get my car. So I walked back to the cathedral because Ron's still working. Went back and got my car. And Ron says, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in the hospital. And I said, well, I'm okay. And I said, I'm going home. So I remember going home, and about 3-4 weeks later, that's when I had that thing that grew on my knee. So they had to have that operated on. So I got workman's comp for that. It was a torn ligament. That's what it was. But I was lucky. I could have got seriously injured or dead. One of my many falls that I survived.
Yeah. How long were you on ladders at that point? How many years?
Well, I started painting for people when I was 16 for my brother. So actually I was 13. 12 or 13 working with him painting the houses. So I was up and down ladders all the time since I was about 12 years old.
So now years later, any injuries from that? You feel that at all?
Oh yeah, I messed up my knees and my back and everything, you know. Because that was the only fall. I fell 3 or 4 times. I'm paying for it. Well, I went back to the same place the next day.
Oh, you did? Went back to
this
the next
time,
day?
yeah, this time I nailed a board to the roof. And
oh, wait, you finished the cathedral?
yeah.
Wow. Because I actually remember that happened.
Well, I remember real well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll never
sure
forget it.
Yeah. I mean, was that the worst fall you ever had?
Well, it was the worst, the highest one. Well, whenever the cathedral, I still have an indentation on the side of my leg here where when I hit the ladder, I landed this way because the ladder came down first and then I shot down on top of it.
Well, that's the question. So did you ever figure out what happened with the ladder?
What made it do it?
Yeah.
The roof softened up. The heat. It was a tar roof.
Oh, so the ladder wasn't affected.
No, the roof had a taper to it. So the heat was softening the tar paper up. So my ladder slid on the tar.
Oh, so it basically just slid right out from
Yeah, so it just kicked straight like this.
Ooh. So you rode that thing down, or?
Oh, I didn't have no choice. I had a hold of it, so it just went down so fast. It was down in seconds. I'd say 2-3 seconds if that's all it took. Because Ron was still coming down the ladder.
Wow.
Because I tried to hold on to this, because there was a cement ledge on the roof, or on the window, sticking out of the bulkhead about this wide, and I tried to grab hold of that. But it was too late. It was so fast, it just shocked me because when I hit, it knocked me out because when I hit it was a blur, and then when I heard Ron screaming, "Don't you go into shock on me," that's what I started laughing.
Oh, really? So you weren't going into shock at all? You were just...
No, I was just laying there, and he was like, "Don't you go into shock." I mean, I wasn't sure if I was, really hurt. 32 feet's a long way to fall, not know.
Yeah.
Could have broke my back, my neck, anything, Then I went back the next day and did the same thing, got back in the same window, but I was a little leery, but I nailed a board to the roof and then made sure that I was tied down, strapped down. And Ron says, "You sure you want to do this?" And I said, yeah, because if you get a fear after you fall and you let that fear push you too far, then you're not going to get back up. You're going to be too scared to do it. And I didn't want that to happen because that was my livelihood.
Right, yeah.
And I had you two to worry about, at home.
Yeah.